welcome again to DieCastRestos. It's Jason here with the 55C Ford Galaxie. This model is in fairly poor condition with a cracked windscreen, paintwork very badly damaged, missing tow hook, generally pretty poor all round. Most of the components still exist. The beacon on top does still sit just inside the windscreen there. The driver still sits in his seat, so nothing will need replacing in that regard. I will need to get some new transfers, or stickers as they are in this case, for the body. There are 2 rivet posts on the base for removal here. Some nice details on the casting. I do like this rear end particularly, with the Ford badge on the back and the light clusters as well. The windscreen's been completely shattered, so I've ordered a new one from Model Supplies again. And here you can see the template marks for where the stickers should be placed. So I use a 5mm drill bit to drill out the rivet posts. I then decided to remove the wheels using some long nose pliers and pull those out. And then I could remove the base using a flat-headed screwdriver. After I'd eased that away, I could take apart the body itself. So there's the base, that is the suspension unit. I then decided to file down the rear rivet post so I could remove the interior plastic. In decent condition still, the driver sat there with the steering wheel. Here you can see the windscreen riveted in. I'm going to remove the plastic that has the beacon attached still. But here you can just see it's just been a case of it's been pushed down in the past at some point. So I use a screwdriver just to push the windscreen out because that's of no use now. You can see the damage that was done. It was quite a jagged edge on that original windscreen and there was no chance of really repairing this. So here are all the components once they've been removed. And here is my replacement windscreen, which, as I said, came from model-supplies.co.uk. It has the little indentation there for the beacon. And I just did a test fit here just to make sure it fits over that rivet. And it fits quite nicely. No real adjustments required here. So that's good news. Now I use a 1.5mm drill bit to drill out those rivet posts, and then I'll tap the post using my screw tap. Using my tried and tested paint stripper here, I gave the model a good covering. And after about 10 minutes or so, I started to remove some of that paint, and this also removed the stickers as well. As you can see here, I've been left with a bit of a Tron-like effect. It seems to have just sat on all of the join, like all of the casting marks. So that will just need a quick going over with the wire brush to remove those areas. And I'll have to use a dental pick to take out some of that extra there. I did also try using the wire brush on the rotary tool, but it didn't really seem to do much for removing the paint on the bodywork. And as you can see here, this took quite a lot of work to remove some of those leftover pieces. But eventually we have the bare metal casting. It's a few scratch marks on the front there where I had to remove the residue of the sticker. But all in all, the casting is in fairly decent condition. Just needs sharpening up a little bit in some places. Next I'll move on to the priming using my traditional method of the Tamiya Fine Light Grey primer. Now this is one of my favourite parts, having a look at the casting itself once all of these details have been picked out. Now again, using my rotary tool, I'm just going to buff out the base using some auto sol, which I've already applied there. The base itself was slightly dirty and quite dull, no real shine to it, so doing this brings a bit of life out of the model. And you can see here, going over the lettering, just how dirty it was previously. Now I just buffed up the front end of the model. I love doing the front grills on these. The before and after difference is incredible. I'll just use a little buffing pad just to get into the finer areas. Next, I'll move on to cleaning up that interior. I just remove the police officer in the front seat and remove the steering wheel, just unattach those. Here's the suspension unit. I tend to just clean them for the sake of cleaning them, although they're unseen. Wheels all in good order. No paint damage. And the tiny little beacon, which just needs a bit of a scrubbing up. So I'll do that first, using the toothbrush and some hot soapy water. And then the suspension unit. Here's the wheels. Giving them a good going over. Well, it's easy to lose them in here, as you can see. Fishing around, but I did find it again. And then the interior. Cleans up quite nicely, actually. There was a bit of a strange brown mark on the area where the tow hook used to be, but that cleaned off quite nicely. Here I'll just insert the axles into my battery operated drill, just to give them a bit of a buffing over. And I will use some of the Nuln oil to gloss up the wheels. Here, using some Autosol again and an earbud, I will buff out the beacon for the roof. Once that's been buffed out, I will just use some Astonish floor cleaner to polish up the light a little bit and give it a good stir. For the respray, I'll be using some Tamiya polycarbonate PS1 white, which I've used in a previous episode for the BMW. This goes on quite nicely, but does have that rough edge finish to it, so I'll need to go over it with some clear coat. The clear coat which I choose to use is the Tamiya TS13. Here you can see the reinvigorated body after, I think this was one spray, and you can pick out those details again on the rear. It's starting to look a lot nicer now. Now I'll just hammer in the wheels back onto the axles on the base and use my silver paint pen to pick out those axle ends. And now it's time for reassembly. So I'll pop in the beacon first of all through the rooftop there and secure that in with the windscreen over the rivet post, and it clips in nice and easily. Next I'll need to remove my screws. I always forget this. Pop the interior over that end rivet post and then put the suspension unit back in again. Then I need to undo the other screw so that I can place the base on. I clip that in and then I can reattach those screws. Now for the stickers, these are slightly too wide for the door. Doing a little test fit here, it's a bit too big because these stickers can be used for multiple different police models in the 55 range. So I cut them down to size a little better and place them onto the doors, just following the template markings. And it looks pretty good after just pressing them down. I'll do the same for the other side as well. So that's 2 stickers down and there's 1 to go. This one I've had to cut down again. The reproduction sticker came in a full bonnet size, so I decided to cut this down so it would fit in with the template markings on the front. And so you can see the edge of the template there very faintly. I just applied the top of the sticker to meet the edge of the template. Just press it down. So let's have a look at what we started with and compare it to what we ended with. Again, the windscreen in tatters, beacon lost inside the model, paintwork scratched to bits. I've lost the tow hook, which I will be replacing, mind you. I'm still just waiting on my styrene plastic to turn up so I can fix those. But the paintwork was in very poor condition. The stickers on the front in a bad way. Yellowed and warped and torn. And this model really needed a good going over. So let's see what she looks like now. Much better with a nice new coat of white paint. The beacon has been polished up. It's not completely perfect, but I do like to reuse as many parts as I possibly can. I couldn't obviously reuse the windscreen or the stickers, but those have been brought in. The chromework's been polished up, the axles have been polished up. I noticed there's a slight gap there with the model on the turntable. Just need to tighten the screws a little by the looks of things. All in all, I think you'll agree that this is quite a turnaround. Please let me know what you think in the comment section below. I'm always interested to hear your thoughts and feelings, and I'm always open to some constructive criticism. So thank you once again for taking the time out to watch my videos. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you again for the next one.